Hey folks, it's Maxwell here and welcome to another TW9 video. You join us for another episode of Dynamite, followed by Rampage and Collision, as we're now on the 1 month road to Grand Slam, Australia. It'll be interesting to see what size of crowd we get there, given our popularity. I don't think we'll be filling any stadiums, but if we can keep the good run of shows we've had, the good popularity gains we've had recently, then hopefully we can do so. So we've utilised most of the talents that have been on loan. Obviously we're meant to be there for Wrestle Dynasty, so they've been used in the last Dynamite and Collision and some in Rampage. I think there's maybe one tonight. I think Mistico and Pac is the big one, just to try and get rid of that loan deal. But most of the stuff on the show, at least for Dynamite, is basically building towards Grand Slam. We've got the card mostly written out. I think there's maybe 2 matches I need to fully commit to. There was a lot of chopping and changing. I want certain things to go, but I'm happy with the placement of it. And then I need to quickly do Revolution, because obviously that's only a few weeks later. So hopefully some of it makes sense. Hopefully you enjoy it. So let's do it. Let's start with this week's AEW Dynamite. So we're at the Mullet Arena. I think we'll be roughly just under 5,000 fans in attendance. We start off with an absolute belter of an opener. And I bet they had some good wrestling and a decent reaction from the crowd. The Young Bucks, our EVPs, defeat the Acclaimed in 12:28 when Nicholas Jackson pinned Max Caster with a Meltzer driver. A 68 for the wrestling here, a 49 for the crowd, and a very impressive 77 for the overall segment. So 2 teams with great and excellent chemistry together. And you can see in terms of performances, the Bucks brought an 86 and a 78. So why have we given the Young Bucks the victory here? Well, we have a promo just afterwards where they say they're the EVPs, they've decided they want another shot at the tag team titles, and they want it at the grandest stage that AEW has, which is Grand Slam. So I know obviously we've been kind of iffy, we were going with the Young Bucks, but I feel like this is the direction. I have a longer story in place for them, and I feel the tag titles is a position they need to be in, not as champions as much just now, but it'll make sense when we get there. But anyway, just them cutting their words saying they're going to challenge the champs at the pay-per-view, so 66. Next up, we had a decent matchup that saw Mercedes Moné pick up a win over Riho in 12:10 by pinfall. 64 for the wrestling, 51 crowd, 67 for the segment. These 2 have great chemistry and it showed. I just want to keep giving Mercedes matches as well, because I feel like as much as she is a star, her technical attributes maybe don't reflect the level of what we need for our product. So hopefully putting her in there with very talented athletes can help increase that and aid their development. But obviously we're paying her well, so we need to put her over. But there is, again, a plan for this story. As we've got 4 weeks to build it, so we've got to take our time. 8 shows, 4 weeks, plenty of time. So in this one, with Jamie here talking to Renee Paquette, she says she's determined to get that championship match against Mariah May. She calls her some words, and basically Mariah takes massive displeasure to this, and she decides to attack Jamie here, beating her down. So both segments was a 56 here, which somehow gives us a 57 rating. I was kind of hoping in this one that Renee is the interviewer will obviously boost it up, because she's really good with that. But it's just getting a bit more heat behind the storyline before eventually Mariah caves in and we have Mariah versus Jamie. We then had a little backstage segment. We're going to have a hell of a lot of beatdowns today. A bad time to be a babyface, but it's Hangman Adam Page, and he just obliterates Darby Allin. Of course, part of the whole thing with Adam Page and Mick Foley. Darby Allin's been a part of that, and Hangman just will not let it go with Darby. That was 64. So he's not doing very well, Darby. He's been beat up by the BCC and he's been beat up by Hangman. Speaking of the BCC, we had about here that had some good wrestling and decent reaction from the crowd. Pac defeats Mistico in 15:10 by pinfall by using underhanded tactics, which gives Pac his 3rd defence of the TNT title. I felt like this would be a good matchup, a 71, 54 and 64. You wonder why the segment's so low. Mistico was going to use his creative control as a loanee to not lose the match, so to keep him looking strong, so he loses a few points for that one. I felt like it's maybe something that would give a bit more prestige to the TNT Championship. We then had a decent matchup, subpar wrestling. The Hurt Syndicate's Powerhouse Hobbs and Shelton Benjamin defeated Outrunners in 9:02 when Hobbs pinned Truth Magnum with a frog splash. Storytelling matchup, you'd obviously want to showcase how strong, how dominant the Hurt Syndicate is, and basically just them toying with the Outrunners here. So overall, That was a 53. It serves its purpose. We then have a little segment backstage. I actually really what I wanted to do here, so I remembered. Hangman bumps into Claudio, bumps into Moxley and Pac, of course the BCC, and he just says to him, listen, I know what you're trying to do around here. I've got no issues with you guys. You've got a lot on your plate. Your issues with Wheeler Yuta, Daniel Garcia, Eddie Kingston. You deal with them. You leave Darby Allin to me, and then he's out of your business. So that kind of truce between the BCC and Hangman, so Darby and Hangman can go at it. And again, leaves the babyfaces to conquer the BCC, or to combat them anyway. A bit limited, but that was a 60. Next up, we had an extremely short match that saw Okada defeat Anthony Henry in 4:45 with the Rainmaker. It gave Okada his 10th defence of the Continental Championship. Pretty short one, makes Okada look great. He was really strong, and 86 from him, 62, 40 and 64. Doesn't make sense, but it will. Because after it, Okada cuts a promo and it just says, this is it. 10 title defences already. He's beaten half the roster in a variety of matches. Is someone going to step up and give him real competition? It's 56. I don't want to speak more than that because it's massive spoiler, but it's going to be cool. Next up, at About That had a good wrestling and a decent reaction from our audience. The Aussie Open. Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis defeated Private Party, Zach Cassidy and Mark Quinn, and 11:59 when Kyle Fletcher pinned Mark Quinn with Coriolis. 66, 39 and 69. Good match here. Some good performances all round, I'd say. Quinn and Cassidy will get there. But obviously our big push at the moment is Aussie Open alongside Ospreay and Ricochet. So a good win for them. So as you've probably noticed over the course of the evening, we've had a lot of tag teams with some victories, and Tony Schiavone has said that Tony Khan has made a major announcement again, and he confirms that we will see at Grand Slam Australia in 4 weeks' time the AEW Tag Team Championships will be on the line in a fatal 4-way tag team match. We're going to see the House of Black, the King of the Black Thrones, Brody King and Malachi Black, defend against Aussie Open's Kyle Fletcher and Mark Davis, against the EVPs Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, and against representing the Hurt Syndicate, Powerhouse Hobbs and Shelton Benjamin. So that match is official, and that is a 50 rated segment. Then had a little segment backstage where we see discussions between Eddie Kingston, Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta. They talk about how basically the BCC have taken Darby out of contention. He's obviously been taken out by Hangman as well. So it's a case of it's 3v3, equal numbers. They're going to hopefully try and take the BCC out. They're obviously gutted about Darby, but they know that AEW lies in those free hands against the champion, Claudio, Moxley and Pac. So that was a 57. And their main event was not spectacular. I was hoping we'd do a bit better. Decent matchup as Will Ospreay defeats the Beast Mortis in 10:44 with the Ozcutter. Try and made them steal the show. Maybe could have been a bit better, but Mortis is obviously class IRL. Couldn't lift his game here. 62 for the wrestling, 49 for the crowd, and a 69 for the segment. And to finish the show, they've obviously been at it before. They had a matchup at Full Gear, but I want to run it back already. And basically, Konosuke Takeshita just beats the ever-living crap out of Will Ospreay to end the show with a 66. The storyline advances, it loses a bit of heat. Obviously, Ospreay is international champion, defended against Okada. He's been trying to defend it against many people. He's got the feud against the Hurt Syndicate as well. Obviously, Lashley's not happy with him. He's got a lot on his plate. And Takeshita is just another challenger to try and get one over Ospreay. I'm in that position where I have a lot of storylines, but so many things overlap, and it's like, I'm going to do this, but at the same time, that's in the future. So, like, Ospreay's had the issue with the Syndicate for a while, and truthfully, that's going to continue for a long, long time. But anyway, for a TV show, it was only a 66. We lose pop in 9 regions and increase our popularity in 3 regions. So overall, it was a pretty okay show. It told a lot of stories. In truth, we just never got the promo we needed for the tight promo focus, and we probably needed. It's weird if we'd have put the Young Bucks against the Acclaimed as the main event, we gain pop, but hey, we need to get the company over, and at the same time, wrestlers will over alongside that. So back to the drawing board, and we'll see what happens before we book Rampage. Locker room incidents, none. All good. Let's round up Rampage and then move on to Collision. So moving on to the Rampage and Collision roundup, I've got to say, managing 142 workers on a roster, Tori, I don't know how you do it. I don't think you do it, but it is absolutely brutal. I think some people may need to get down to Ring of Honor just to allow other people to be used. I think Ibdy's most of them used at least once, but you get people going like a month without any action, and even some where it's like, oh, this is a storyline idea, and then you want to progress that story and you just don't have the time on the two shows. Because really with Rampage, I just kind of book people that don't normally get on other shows. Example B, this week's Rampage. So I started off with the Bang Bang Gang, Colton Gunn, Austin Gunn and Juice Robinson, and they defeated Kip Sabian and the Sons of Texas, Sammy Guevara and the Natural Dustin Rhodes. That gave us a 57. We then had some words and the intentions of the Bang Bang Gang, just saying they're looking to get back into the Trios Championship mix, basically. That was a 46. Next week contest that saw Deonna Purrazzo defeat Willow Nightingale was a 67, so good stuff there. We then heard some words from Deonna, Megan Bain and Taya Valkyrie, which was a 44. Hook defeated Jay Lethal, which was a 49. We had some more words hinting towards that heel turn for Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, which was a 52. And your main event for Rampage from the Mullet Arena was Kyle O'Reilly defeating Lee Moriarty, which was a 65. I'm already struggling to get a lot of people on the TV shows. I don't want to expand to another one. And I obviously have ideas for a women's Continental Classic version coming up very, very soon, because I don't want it to be after the Owen Hart, which I'll keep where it is. So I kind of would like it to be probably in that run from Revolution through to Double or Nothing. And then you have the wee break, and then we could do the Owen Hart tournaments in the middle of the summer. So that's the plan with that. That was a wee roundup of what's going down on Rampage. We lost a few, as I said, we lost a few bits of pop in the US, so back at that kind of 67, but realistically we can take as long as we want. We're kind of banging that middle of medium and big. With 66 you're kind of, well, you're probably closer to medium, maybe you've dropped them to small, but I think if we could start really getting the finger out, I'd like to imagine we can be big by the end of the year. It depends how we take to it when we get to like 72, 73s, because we're really going to have to push for 80 rated shows. But I'd like to hope we'll be in a good position. And once we've done like 4 or 5 months, we have an idea of the financial situation, maybe take a bit more risks with that to give us a bit more exposure. But that's the behind the scenes stuff. That's the kind of miscellaneous stuff. I believe some colliders have assembled. Let's go over to Collision. So we've got 4,565 fans in the Bob Carpenter Centre, and we start the contest straight, or start the show with a contest, and it was with good wrestling and a decent reaction from the audience. Mercedes Moné picks up the win over Yuka Sakazaki in 11:40 with the bank statement submission hold, or the money statement, or whatever she's calling it in AEW these days. But overall, 66 wrestling, 48 for the crowd, and a 67 segment. It really was just to keep her momentum going. She's picking up all these wins over kind of what we would classify as Joshy talent, and it's a good win for Mercedes. As she's heading to the back, flanked by her bodyguard Camille, they bump into one of the women that'll be competing in her next match, Io Shirai. There's a bit of a confrontation, it's a bit heated, but they get separated because Io has to go to the ring for her upcoming match. Hinting towards the programme, nice wee way to start it, 56. Her matchup was decent. She took on Serena Deeb. Of course she wins in 10:32 with the moonsault press. 72 for Io, 50 for Serena. I think Serena's always going to be a decent hand. I think age maybe doesn't quite help her. But overall, 61, 47, 65. The push and the intentions, of course, at the moment are with Io Shirai. Then I had a little segment backstage, and it was basically Prince Nana rounding up the troops for tonight's main event. Swerve Strickland has gotten himself some allies for a 6-man tag, and from Los Faction Ingobernables. I'll pronounce that so many times incorrectly. We have Rush and Mistico, who will be joining Swerve to take on Orange Cassidy and two partners. I believe, if I remember, it's Cassidy, it's Kyle O'Reilly, and because Rocky Romero wasn't available for the conglomeration, it is Commander. So that was a 47 segment. At least that explains why they're all together. Next up, we had a little interview segment backstage with obviously Chris Jericho on the shelf with an injury. We had Big Bill and Brian Keefe sending their wishes for Chris to get better. They says they're going to do him proud, everything he taught them, and they're going to win their upcoming match. And that was a 44. Storyline advances, but lost heat. And okay, this isn't good. Decent matchup. FTR defeated the Learning Tree, Big Bill and Brian Keefe in 8:36 when Dax Harwood pinned Brian Keefe with the big rig. This was designed to tell a story, being that they are really struggling without Chris Jericho, and FTR had an injury in the form of Cash Wheeler. Dax is over his. 52, 43, 56. You can see here Dax Harwood's completely unhappy, so we might need to offer him a little bonus to keep him happy, because he was very, very upset with the acquisition of Dominic Dijak, which is for another storyline. And yeah, not good. Probably need to watch in case he just decides to leave or creates stuff behind the scenes. So we'll probably just give him like 100,000 or a couple 100,000 to try and make him happy, because he's got a lot of allies that I'd quite like not to be in my bad books. Next up, Wild Brawl matchup of the evening. Daniel Garcia and Wheeler Yuta defeat the Righteous in 8:34 with Garcia submitting Vincent with a sharpshooter. Vincent was the weak link here, probably just this type of matchup, but good vicious matchup I felt like. 54 wrestling, 44 for the crowd, and a 59 for the segment. Of course, they have the alliance with Eddie Kingston. He says he's proud of the boys that took on a very dangerous team in the Righteous, and he's going to continue the momentum they've got before they will get hands on the Blackpool Combat Club. He's going to get his hands on Pac, and he tells Renee, obviously he knows Smoxley's wife, but from a professional point of view, he's going to get his hands on John and he's going to hurt him. So 69, but first off he's got to get his hands on Pac. They've got a lot of history together, and this one was decent. Eddie Kingston defeats Pac in 11:27 with the back fist to the future. 65, 54, 68. Not great, but it gives a bit of momentum towards the baby faces and the heels in this event. Eddie really off his game, so maybe takes that down for a 60. I feel Eddie being out as well doesn't quite have the overness and the popularity we kind of want him to have, so we have to build him up slowly, and that is a win for Eddie. I then moved on to another storytelling match of the evening, and it was a decent match that saw Kazuchika Okada defeat AR Fox in 9:16 with a Rainmaker. 63, 41, 66. Meant to put the Continental title on the line, but didn't. So again, an easy win for Okada, just getting him some more stat padding victories. And again, he cuts this familiar promo, was like, really? This is meant to be elite competition? Like, where is the true challenge for my Continental Championship? So at 54, it will pay off, trust me. With what I've got planned, it will pay off. We then had an extremely short match as Bobby Lashley defeated Jack Cartwheel in 3:27 with the spear. 49, 36, 51. It's just to make Bobby look like a badass and dominate Jack Cartwheel. Nothing more to add to that. After the matchup, he beats the hell out of Jack Cartwheel at the orders of MVP. And after a few minutes, we see Ricochet come out, stop Bobby Lashley from doing so. A couple of Hurricane Ranas, a couple of flips, and he has Lashley scampering up the ramp with MVP. So it's basically continue the storyline. Does Ricochet still have the spark, basically, the big feud between the Hurt Syndicate, between Aussie Open, Ricochet and Will Ospreay. Jack Cartwheel's just a wee enhancement down here that's obviously had to take the beating. But 56, and it continues the storyline, although it doesn't advance it. Pressure is on the main event to deliver the 6-man tag. Because I always feel like we've got so many good wrestlers that I can rotate what main events, what can be mid-card and what can be lower mid-card. But anyway, good wrestling match, decent reaction from the crowd. It was Swerve Strickland and Le Faction and Ingobernables, Rush and Realistico, who defeated Commander and the conglomeration in 12:26 when Swerve pinned Commander with a Swerve Stomp. Made it steal the show matchups. I felt the styles would clash very well. 67-44, 72. So a good main event matchup. Hopefully it results in a good overall score. You can see there in terms of in-ring performances, Orange Cassidy with the 70, Roosh with the 76, and Swerve with 84. Some really, really good stuff there. And My House, My Rules has advanced and gained heat. And how do we finish the show? Doing what we do best. Swerve Strickland beating the utter crap out of Orange Cassidy and then just laughing hysterically at the damage he's done to Orange. So storyline again gained some heat. I felt like it was cold, so I needed to build up a few segments. Swerve needs to get cooking basically, and then Orange Cassidy can kind of be the face in peril to try to make a comeback. But 62, and that sees us a 70, and we gain pop in 4 regions. So not the greatest, but not horrible. And really Sickos was overused, and we can work on that one. But really, in terms of stories, you've got one set up there. You get the stuff with the learning tree. You get the stuff between the BCC alongside Eddie Kingston, etc. Okada's new storyline. The stuff between Lashley, Ricochet, etc. And stuff with Swerve and Cassidy. So a lot of stuff is advancing storylines. It's just obviously you get 4 weeks to try and drag stuff out. Some are going to be there faster than others. Financial report was a 500k profit we're making per show, which is good. Popularity and those increases were slightly small in Puerto Rico and 3 of them in Oceania. Nothing in the media scrum. We'll jump to our main screen. We'll take a wee look. As you can see there, one of our talents in Ring of Honor, Schumacher Skywalker. What a good attributes there. As I say, someone that I felt like can develop well in Ring of Honor, and if a gap opens up, we can certainly utilise them. I just don't want to get too many people under written exclusives because I'd rather they work places alongside AEW to help them develop. But luckily, it's still the start, so stuff doesn't go too slow. Goto is the new chief enforcer for New Japan. Ishii has been removed from it. Takagi is in the Bullet Club. Collision, drawn a lot of praise. Anything else that directly affects us? Any contracts? Nope, just Joe. Joe's contract's up already. Big Joe Tessitore. He's 76 play-by-play. For us, it is the renewal of Glacier. Welcome to AEW, Scott D'Amore. I'll put him as a face. And a pay rise, 75 to keep her happy for Mina Shirakawa. Also look at Kenta, but he'll be more kind of a background rather than a main player. New Japan let him go, so why not? Basically, that's the reason I can justify him. Why not? Why not Kenta? But yeah, overall, quite happy with that one. We're going to have a look at Dax, because Dax the Axe is not very happy. That's the thing, I gave Cash like a wee thing as well, but he seems to be like... In fact, it's actually Dax that we gave the character idea and he got a boost, but he's still angry. So, what if I give you... In fact, if I give you a month off, would that be better? Be paid? Let's try that. Nope, he's still angry. That's annoying. I don't have them planned for Grand Slam Australia, so that's how I can get rid of that. Okay, what about if I give both of these 10 grand? Right, he's now annoyed, that's better. And the same for Dax the Axe. There. Better. So we'll work with that one, but they'll be out for a month, and that's fine. I don't really have plans for them at the Grand Slam, so that's cool. Then go and do New Japan stuff for a bit. Quite a few. The list is a lot shorter, but we'll see what happens. It's going to be a very big roster very, very soon. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Let's say 28 days, so 4 weeks to Grand Slam. So we've got a good few, I think we've 8 Dynamite Collisions to book, and of course the 4 Rampages on top of that. So that was, thank you for watching. A wee thumbs up would be deeply appreciated. Let us know how your own sales are getting on, and as always, check out the Fantasy Bookers subreddit, Playdog Software forums, twdb.com, and bethebooker.net. Until then, take it easy, Bye bye.